Quantum manifestation is the silentest law woven into the invisible fabric of the universe. The human mind believes it can produce results through sound and action, but the universe hears vibration, that is, silence. For silence is the purest state of being. It is a level beyond intention, desire, and thought. In the quantum realm, everything is defined by frequency, and every frequency is a trace of existence. Therefore, true manifestation is not spoken, it is felt. When you enter silence, the mind falls silent, but consciousness begins to speak. This speech is not through words, but through waves. You listen to the invisible echoes of the universe with every breath. The more the mind is silenced, the more consciousness expands, for noise is the only element that disrupts quantum resonance. Most people miss manifestation because they live in an inner world filled with noise, impatience, fear, the desire for results. All of these are frequency collisions. The universe retreats when it detects such erratic signals, for it hears only harmony. Silence is not a void, but the purest form of order. The true beginning of manifestation occurs in this silent space. In those moments when you don't cling to any thought, don't force any wish, and simply allow yourself to be. The quantum field perceives this not as a command but as an invitation, because consciousness is the language of the universe, and in that language there are no words, only energy. Energy, the foundation of everything, takes form through your awareness. If your awareness is chaotic, manifestation will also be chaotic. But if your awareness is silent, creation takes shape with perfect symmetry. Think about it. If you throw a stone on the surface of a lake, the water's shape will be distorted. But when that stone stops, the water returns to its own nature. This is the secret of manifestation, achieving a state of consciousness like the stillness of water. This state doesn't force anything, doesn't expect anything. It simply exists, and that existence summons the purest energy. In the quantum field, this state is called coherence, the alignment of the frequencies of the inner and outer worlds. Because the human mind, accustomed to controlling everything, often perceives this silence as a threat, because control is security for the mind, whereas silence is beyond security. There are no guarantees in silence. There is only surrender. But it is in that moment of surrender that the true energy flow begins. The universe hears not who you are, but how you feel. And in silence, the feeling transforms into a wave higher than words. This wave sends an "I am here" signal at the level of consciousness. When the universe receives this signal, it aligns with you. You no longer want, you simply know. Because manifestation is the energy of knowing. Silence is the womb where this knowing is born. All possibilities sprout from within this womb. And one day, without you even realizing it, the seeds of manifestation transform into matter. But you can't describe it as "I created," because it already existed. You simply stumbled upon that vibration. Therefore, silence is not the place of creation, but the door. When you enter it, you are no longer alone. For there, the observer and the observed are one. The frequency of this unity is so high, such a pure energy, that to hear it, your being, not your mind, must be silent. Most people cannot do this because they hear themselves in the silence and are afraid of it. But behind that fear, the pulse of the universe beats. That's where true manifestation begins. The quantum field resonates with you at this point because you're no longer resisting. Resistance divides energy. Silence unites. Every cell in you begins to pulse in rhythm with that universal vibration. Only then does the universe hear your word. But those words don't come out of your mouth. They are written in frequency. You whisper to the universe in the language of silence, "I am ready." The echo of those words transcends time. Because at the quantum level, nothing is lost, only transformed. Therefore, every second you spend in silence echoes throughout an unseen universe. Perhaps you're experiencing silence right now, and it feels like nothing is happening. But in that silence, the universe may be working for you, because silence is the universe's most productive state. Noise disperses energy. Silence concentrates it. Therefore, quantum manifestation requires awareness, not action. When awareness is rooted in silence, manifestation becomes inevitable. And when that moment arrives, nothing is a coincidence, because you have found your own frequency in the silence. The deepest secret of the quantum field lies in the role of the observer. For the observer is not merely a viewer, but a creator. Every gaze is an energy, every awareness a vibration. When you observe something, it becomes an echo of your consciousness. However, most people mistake observation for a mental act. However, true observation is a silent awareness. Everything the mind analyzes divides. Everything the heart feels unites. This is why manifestation is the fruit of silent observation. When the observer can silence the noise of their mind, the universe responds to them in all its glory. Because only pure awareness, the energy of non-judgmental observation, resonates in the quantum field. The more meaning you ascribe and the more results you expect, the more waves you create. Those waves blur the clear surface of manifestation. Therefore, the universe reveals itself most clearly when observed in its purest form. Simply seeing something without trying to change it reveals its essential frequency. This is a play of consciousness, not the mind. While the mind asks, "Is this good or bad?" consciousness simply says, "It exists." This state of witnessing what is the beginning of manifestation. For the universe aligns with acceptance, not resistance. When you judge something, you fixate it, but when you observe silently, that energy is released. Quantum physics calls this phenomenon the observer effect. This effect is the greatest discovery not only of science but of consciousness. Whatever you focus on, that energy takes form. But there's a subtlety here. Focusing isn't forcing. True focus is quiet determination. It's being able to feel the energy even with your eyes closed. The universe hears what you feel, not what you want. If your feeling is filled with anxiety, your observation vibrates with fear. And fear creates a barrier in the quantum field. But observation in silence dissolves these barriers. Because silence is a neutral frequency. It imposes nothing, it suppresses nothing. It simply says, "There is." And that state of presence enables the reordering of energy. The silence of the observer is the most fertile moment of creation. Think about it. When a seed is buried in the soil, no one can watch it, but it grows in silence. The observer is the consciousness of this soil. The less you interfere, the purer the transformation that occurs. Because the universe doesn't want to be constantly observed, it needs the trust of the observer. Silent trust is the fuel of manifestation. If you try to control the outcome at every moment, you interrupt the flow of energy, but the observer watches the process, not the outcome. The process is the universe's own rhythm. And when you surrender to this rhythm, the probabilities align in your favor. The observer sees the unseen. They sense the energy behind events, the order beyond intention. Therefore, true observation is not through sight, but through presence. In the quantum field, the observer acts like a wave. Wherever there is awareness, there is concentration of energy. Your awareness is like a magnet, but that magnet only works when you remain silent. Because silence doesn't fix energy, it directs it. Every thought, every intention, every gaze emits a frequency. And whichever frequency you silently witness for the longest time, that probability transforms into matter. The human mind complicates this simple truth because it's always fixated on the question, how? But in the quantum realm, there's no how, only be. The observer's role is simply to allow this state of be. Sometimes doing nothing is the only way to transform everything, because the natural tendency of energy is to achieve balance. You simply don't disturb that balance. That's why silent observation is the most powerful form of manifestation. If you feel an inner peace as you read these words now, know that you've stepped into the observer's realm. This frequency is a conscious, not a mental vibration. When you begin to notice how everything aligns for you, you'll see the universe responding to you. That response sometimes comes as silence, sometimes as a coincidence, sometimes as an inner intuition. It's not a coincidence. It's the language of the quantum realm. And that language is understood only by silent observers. When you reach this awareness, you no longer try to manifest. You understand that you are already manifestation. The observer game is the game of quieting the inner world, not the outer world. And in that silence, the universe looks at itself through your eyes. The birth of manifestation occurs in the quietest moments of the universe. This process begins without any external signs. There is no sound, no light, no movement. But within that invisible field, a dance of creation begins, where possibilities vibrate. At the quantum level, everything first comes into being through the vibration of an intention. But this intention is not an expressed desire, but a felt frequency. True manifestation is born not with the mind, but with consciousness. The mind wishes and consciousness manifests. Therefore, creation exists within silence. Silence is the womb of the universe. All forms, all possibilities, and all realities germinate here. People often fail to notice this moment of creation because their minds are preoccupied with the outcome. Yet, the moment manifestation is born is a moment of awareness without expectation. There is no question of will it happen, nor any anxiety of when will it happen. There is only a state of knowing. Knowing is not believing, for there is still a void in belief, yet knowing is complete. The silence from which this feeling of completion emanates creates a wave in the quantum field. This wave carries the frequency of your consciousness throughout the universe, and the universe recognizes this wave because its structure is also composed of the same silence. Every manifestation begins at this unseen level. Thoughts, words, and actions are merely its surface echoes. True creation occurs when the mind becomes silent, because the voice of the mind drowns out the essence of creation. The silent mind is a vast universe. There are no boundaries there. Where those boundaries disappear, possibilities merge. The quantum field does not measure the energy of intention. It measures its clarity. The purer, the more effortless, the more silent your intention, the stronger the vibration you emit. Because effort distorts the frequency. Effort arises from lack. Silence arises from wholeness. Therefore, true manifestors are not those who strive, but those who silently allow. Silent allowing is trusting the intelligence of the universe itself. This trust carries the message of completeness as a vibration. When the universe hears this, it responds. Because the universe is not a separate entity from you. It is an expanded version of your consciousness. Every emotion, every thought, every moment of awareness gives direction to this expanse. Everything you are aware of in silence is engraved on the map of your existence. Therefore, every feeling within silence is not a command, but a seed. Over time, it transforms into matter. Many people miss manifestation because they cannot bear the silence of birth. They want movement, they want proof, they want sound. But the creation of the universe proceeds with an unseen patience. That's why silence is like a test. It measures how much you can trust. If you can tolerate silence, your energy remains stable. This stable energy creates a fixation in the quantum field, and manifestation arises from this alignment. But impatience disrupts the field. Because impatience carries the message, it's not yet, and this postpones creation. The quantum field constantly reflects the frequency of your consciousness. If there is a not yet energy in your inner world, it tells you, not yet. But if you enter silence with the feeling that it's already happened, that silence becomes a doorway to creation. Manifestation is born at this very point, in a state of consciousness where all expectations are gone, where only peace reigns. This state is invisible to the eye, but felt as a profound knowing. The mind cannot make sense of this moment because its nature is noise. But the soul knows. When that moment arrives, a calm descends, as if everything is complete. This feeling is the first breath of quantum birth. This breath spreads throughout the universe, creating a new wave of reality. The silent birth of manifestation is not merely an event, but an evolution of awareness. For in that moment, you have become one with the Creator. There is no longer a line between you and the universe. Everything flows from the same source. The beauty of this birth lies in its invisibility. No one notices, but because the first echo of manifestation is felt in the heart. When you recognize that feeling, you no longer force anything. At that point, your communication with the universe becomes pure. You no longer pray but speak with vibration. You no longer desire but direct with presence. The silent birth of manifestation is the moment when the universe tells you, you are ready. And at that moment, you do nothing. Because you know that everything has already happened. The language of the universe is silent. What is born in that silence is infinite. While the void is a realm feared by most people, in the eyes of quantum consciousness, it is the most fertile soil for creation. To befriend the void is to understand that something takes shape even in the absence of anything. One of the fundamental laws of the universe is this: even when there is nothing, everything is possible. However, the human mind perceives the void as a lack because it confuses silence with stagnation. Yet the void is the purest form of movement, an unseen flow, a frequency pattern. Every manifestation is preceded by a phase of emptiness. This phase is an invisible yet energetically intense restructuring. When something is thought to be lost, its form is actually changing. But most people greet this transition with impatience. The mind wants to fill it immediately, seeking immediate results. However, at the quantum level, the void is the moment when the universe recalibrates. Nothing appears to be happening in the void, but everything is recoded. Resisting this coding process disrupts the natural flow of energy. Resistance is the disruption of frequency. Therefore, instead of fighting the void, we must greet it. For it is the place where energy is reborn. The emptiness and silence is not destruction, but a transition. The soul matures when it recognizes this transition, because instead of asking, "Why isn't it happening?" it can say, "It's just taking shape." This is where the depth of awareness begins. Waiting is torture for the mind, but a ceremony for consciousness. Emptiness is a period of time in which consciousness creates space for itself. The quantum field realigns energy during this silent period. Old patterns dissolve, vibrations balance, and a new frequency is born. However, remaining steadfast in this process requires courage, because there are no references in the void. There are no traces of the past, no hints of the future. There is only the present. Therefore, emptiness tests one's capacity for surrender. Surrender is not giving up. It is trusting the rhythm of the universe. If you feel this trust, then the quantum field begins to reshape you. Emptiness is the space where the universe resets you. The 0 point is the beginning of all creation. That moment when everything falls silent, when all frequencies converge on a single point of balance. The mind cannot bear this because its nature is to move. But consciousness finds profound peace in this moment, because he knows nothing happening is everything becoming possible. When you can gaze into the void with this awareness, you are no longer afraid. You see the void not as a threat, but as an invitation. The universe is rebirthing you in the void. Every loss, every silence, every stillness is actually an alignment. It is a necessary interval for energy to take on a new form. That's why people experiencing spiritual evolution often go through periods of nothing happening. Yet, in the unseen dimension, everything is happening. Energetic networks are being rewoven, potentials are being reordered. This restructuring is measured by your patience. The more you can remain non-resistant, the faster you will transform. The quantum field moves according to your emotional frequency. If you are restless in the void, the field will make you wait. But if you can hear the rhythm within the silence, your energy will synchronize with the universe. And at that moment, the silent core of manifestation begins to vibrate. This vibration is invisible yet powerful, because the universe responds to the frequency of your existence. If you greet the void with love, that void will bring you new possibilities. But if you approach it with fear, that fear narrows the field. Becoming friends with the void is making peace with the unknown, because the most creative part of the universe lies within the unknown. Entering the unknown is like walking without taking a step forward. It is trusting without seeing, knowing without hearing, accepting without feeling. Quantum consciousness expands through this surrender. When you let go of the need to know the meaning of everything, meaning emerges on its own. In that moment, the void becomes a mirror, showing you your inner state. If there is peace within, the external world shapes accordingly. A person who can remain in the void breathes the same breath as the universe. Because they no longer force their own frequency, they simply allow. And permission is the most powerful form of creation. If there is a stillness in your life right now, trust this silence, for it is a sign that your energy is realigning. The universe may be preparing you, making room for a new possibility. When you make friends with the void, there is no such thing as loss. Everything is transformed. Everything has its time, and when that time comes, the void suddenly transforms into birth. Learn not only to wait, but to feel, because the loudest sound in the universe is born from the silence of the void. Frequency is the communication language of the universe. Every being, every thought, every emotion emits a frequency, and this vibration resonates throughout the universe, finding its response. Unconsciously, we constantly broadcast fear, anxiety, hope, peace. All of these are signals. The quantum field collects these signals, resonates, and transforms them into materialized experiences. In other words, everything you see in your life is a reflection of your consciousness. However, most people live without realizing this law. They believe the external world is a cause and the internal world a result. However, the truth is the opposite. Nothing outside can change permanently unless the frequency within you changes. Therefore, understanding the power of frequency is opening the door to true creation. The source of frequency is not intention but surrender, because surrender means not resisting the flow of the universe. Resistance lowers frequency. Surrender raises it. Surrender does not mean giving up. On the contrary, it is the highest state of trust. When the mind asks, "How will it happen?" the consciousness replies, "It's already happening." At that moment, the frequency shifts. The quantum field detects this new vibration and responds to it. The purer the frequency, the faster the manifestation. Pure frequency is created by dissolving the expectations hidden behind intention. If you desire something deeply but deep down believe you can't have it, the signal emitted is lack. When the universe senses the lack, it multiplies it. But when you let go of something with silent acceptance, the frequency is complete, because at that point, you're no longer saying, "I don't want," but "I do." And the consciousness of "I do" is the highest vibration. This is the energy of surrender. The universe cannot resist this frequency because it is in harmony with its own nature. At the quantum level, everything obeys the law of resonance. Whenever your frequency and your thoughts conflict, reality becomes confused. But the heart broadcasts more coherently than the mind. Therefore, if you want to remain centered in frequency, you must quiet the mind and listen to the heart. The silent vibration of the heart is the language of the universe. Surrender is learning to speak this language. Sometimes simply feeling without doing anything can change everything, because the vibration of feeling transcends words. Thoughts may have millions of variations, but frequency is clear. It tells you what you believe. Surrender refines this belief. You no longer demand an outcome. You simply exist, and the universe responds to this state of being. The power of frequency lies in its continuity. It brings not a fleeting moment of high vibration, but the creation of a steady harmony. If you can trust a little more each day, your energy field will realign. The universe senses this alignment, because you are no longer demanding anything. You are breathing with it. Frequency is the identity the universe recognizes you as. It is not what you say, but who you are. Surrender refines this identity. You no longer vibrate with the fears of the past or the expectations of the future. You remain steadfast in the silence of the now, and that silence raises your frequency. This elevation may seem like a miracle from the outside, but it is actually the result of an inner harmony. The quantum field is a mirror to your energy. What you project is what it reveals. Therefore, surrender is the act of ceasing to fight the universe. Knowing that everything is happening at the speed it should is trusting that speed. This trust has no sound, but its frequency is powerful. That frequency attracts possibilities. In the moment of surrender, there is no longer a question of what will happen. There is only be. When you reach this level of consciousness, your life begins to flow. Coincidences align, doors open, people appear at the right time, because you are no longer separate from the universe, but in one vibration. The essence of surrender is shifting from "I do" to "I allow." This shift changes the entire structure of frequency. You realize that everything is no longer happening through you, but rather that you are flowing with the consciousness of the universe, and this awareness is the pinnacle of creation. Surrender is not weakness, but joining the flow of energy. Whenever you stop trying to force something, it comes to you at its natural pace, because the universe rewards harmony, not force. Frequency shines with surrender. The mind struggles to grasp this, but the heart knows, because the heart beats with the pulse of the universe. When you learn to surrender, you actually return to your own frequency. That frequency has always carried you, only you couldn't hear it. Now you can feel it in the silence. This silence is the music of creation. Invisible, yet it orchestrates everything. This vibration within surrender is the purest gateway to the heart of the universe. The call of quantum silence is an echo rising not from the sounds of the external world, but from the very essence of being. This call cannot be heard with words. It is felt in the deepest part of your heart, for the universe calls you not with sound, but with vibration. To answer this call is to withdraw all attention directed outward and return to the inner realm. The mind becomes restless at this point because it cannot make sense of that silence. For consciousness, silence is not an ending, but a beginning. At the heart of the quantum field, everything begins with silence. Energy waves, possibilities, timelines, all arise from this absolute stillness. Silence is the breath of the universe, a cycle of inhalation and exhalation. When you align with that breath, you become one with the rhythm of the universe. You no longer manifest. Manifestation flows through you. This state cannot be described in words. For there is no I, only being. The call of quantum silence is an invitation to this state of being. At the point where your mind is constantly searching for meaning, for explanation, this call takes you beyond meaning. For meaning is limited, silence is infinite. In this silence, time dissolves, past and future blend together. There is only the present, and this moment of now is the very center of the universe. All frequencies, all possibilities intersect at this point. Therefore, silence is not a void, but a concentrated state of all potential. Nothing seems to be happening there, but in reality, everything begins there. If you can remain within, not paying attention in these moments, you will feel the pulse of the universe. That pulse beats in rhythm with your own heartbeat. Because you are not a separate being from the universe. You are an extension of its consciousness. That subtle frequency behind the noise is directed towards a conscious soul. Hearing it takes courage, because entering silence means letting go of everything you think you are, but every identity you let go of makes you feel lighter. While the mind resists silence, the soul falls in love with it. For silence is the home of the soul. There are no masks, no fears, no expectations. There is only pure being, pure awareness. In the quantum realm, this awareness is the source of creation. Therefore, silence is not just a state of peace. It is a field of power. When you remain in silence, you can feel these vibrations. When a thought arises, you recognize its energy. When a feeling arises, you sense its direction. You no longer ask why life is happening to you, because you understand that everything is shaping along with you. In silence, this unity consciousness is born, and that consciousness dissolves all fear, because fear is only the product of separation. In silence, there is no separation, only wholeness. When you feel that wholeness, you no longer want to fix anything. You realize that everything already functions in perfect harmony. This awareness is the most profound gift of quantum silence. External noise no longer guides you. They come and go, but you remain centered. This center within the silence is the fixed point of existence. The seemingly chaotic dance of the universe revolves around this center. As long as you remain centered, no storm can shake you. Because you are not in the wind, but in the void. The void is the patiently waiting power of the universe. Every manifestation arises from the depths of that void. And when you witness that birth, the word create loses its meaning. Because you realize that creation has always been happening. Only you can hear it now. This is what the call of quantum silence teaches, allowing everything to happen without doing anything. This is the highest level of awareness human consciousness can reach. You are no longer an observer, but a channel. Energy flows through you, words arise spontaneously, and events unfold in their own time. Because you are intertwined with the flow of the universe, and that flow carries an infinite balance. Quantum silence invites you into this balance. When you respond to this call, you feel the truth the universe whispers to you. Nothing is lost, everything is transformed. You are a living part of that transformation. Now allow the silence, for that silence is the universe's welcome to you. If you felt the frequency of this silence with us, subscribe to our channel and be a part of this consciousness journey. Write in the comments, "I manifest in silence." These words will be your first vibration with the universe.